It's amazing to hear Emmanuel say that this industry is going to progress to 200 billion. It really speaks to the opportunity that's available. But, as it relates to the infrastructure, I think it's very easy to see that the major infrastructure is still very much driven from a government perspective. But what that does do is it provides the opportunity for the ecosystem to be created. And I think that's been the missing piece for the longest time, because if you look across the continent, you've got infrastructure all over the place. I could honestly list 20 arenas that are all over the continent, but they've never been acknowledged as assets, as economic drivers. They're facilities. They host basketball games every now and then. They host different federations, but the ecosystem around them has never been activated. And I think from our side as QA, we were very fortunate in being able to team up with the government of Rwanda to showcase what is possible. To take over an arena that's been built by a government, because it's not easy to offload $100 million plus into an arena, just because the model still has a long way to go to justify that. But what you are starting to see is the data that comes off the back of these arenas is massive. We look at the past 4 years, I think we're in excess of $50 million in terms of impact. We did an assessment of the jobs that we created last year across permanent and part-time. It's up at 16,000 jobs. That fulfills the need from a government perspective. And I think if we start to segment our approaches and say, who can build a $100 million arena and solve for their problems? And that is through the job creation. It's through the ecosystem development. We can then progress ourselves rapidly in ensuring that we have the right infrastructure built to then activate the ecosystem around it. And I think to the point Michelle was making earlier about safe investments, if we want to look at arenas being a safe investment or stadiums being a safe investment, they cannot live in isolation. They have to be developed with the ecosystem around them so that the foot traffic that comes into that space, if we're pushing 1 million people a year through the doors, it doesn't help us just taking the $10, $20 in the arena. You've got to also look at the $30, $40 that can be spent in and around the arena at the same time. So there's some of the groundwork has been put in place. I always commend the government of Rwanda, because for all of us sitting in this room, to be honest, they've provided a platform for us to showcase an industry that is possible, right? And if we can pull these sort of numbers in this market, imagine if we do have 3, 4, 5 arenas across the continent. We'll easily get to the 200 billion and surpass that. So yeah, I think just from an infrastructure perspective, there's different ways to look at it. That touches the major infrastructure, and there's a lot more that we have to do to also build the ecosystem around it.